Welcome back to Screen Sleuths. I'm Chris, and we have come to the end of the Dark Matter journey. For now. I know there's mixed feelings about the finale and some lingering questions about aspects of the show. In this video, we will try to clarify everything as best we can. Overall, I really enjoyed the finale. It wrapped up the main storyline, didn't leave any plot holes, and gave us a glimpse of what happened to the other travelers, and most importantly, left the door open for a season 2 with Ryan and Amanda's encounter. Now, I know some of you were hoping for more details into what happened to Blair, the Leighton dressed like Captain Crunch, and the Jasons that were left behind, and that's fair. However, it wasn't the focus of the show, and wouldn't really add anything to the story. If anything, if they dove too deeply into those other character stories, they would have needed to finish them, which would inevitably have caused other loose ends and plot holes. So if there is a season 2, they can open that storyline back up no problem. And if there isn't, then all those endings were sufficiently closed. Because personally, I'm fine with the idea that there are versions of all these characters traversing the multiverse, living, dying, partying, exploring, doing all these things. And I don't think I need to know the specifics of all the things that are happening out there to understand the big picture of what is happening out there. And although I did enjoy some of the family dynamic that we got in episode 9, there were some slow parts, but overall, I enjoyed seeing the family that we were introduced to in episode 1 in the first scene come full circle, go through all the trauma, and come out the other end. But what was more interesting was the redemption arc for Jason 2. Granted, I don't think any of us forgive Jason 2 for what he did, but I think it did allow us to empathize with him because for the most part, I think we all have a moment where you start to wonder if the grass is greener on the other side. And given the opportunity, some of us may take it. With all that said, as endearing as his final gestures may have been, the guy left a multiversal level of carnage in his wake and ruined countless lives. So, screw him. But what about Ryan and Amanda? Because to me, this was the most important scene in the whole episode. Based on the audio description, this is Ryan and Amanda 1. But why was he looking for her? This Ryan would have no idea who she was since they never met in his original reality. So how would he know who he was even looking for? And I think this has something to do with the Amanda of that reality going missing. That is a specific word choice, opposed to she moved away, she was in a fatal car crash, she was deleted during a home invasion. There's a lot of different ways they could have played out why she is no longer in the picture, but chose to be ambiguous and just say she went missing. And the fact that she even went missing gives me the impression that she was either abducted or chose to go missing, which is kind of similar to how Jason 2 just went missing in his own reality when he went into the box. Now, we know that this reality's Amanda went missing, but we have no information about this reality's Ryan. So, did Ryan 1 meet with himself? He's extremely smart and wasn't really confused when Jason 2 spoke to him about how the box works and what the drugs were used for, so he would be able to mentally deal with the revelation that there's a multiverse and that the person standing in front of him is another version of him from a different reality. So are the two Ryans working together? He was making the drug, but he would need resources to do this. Resources an established Ryan would already have in a very science-friendly reality like the one that we see them in. Now, to be clear, I am not saying that the Ryans did anything to harm that reality's Amanda, but maybe they are aware of what happened to her, and when all of a sudden she popped back on their radar from being missing, Ryan 1 went to go investigate. But now I want to pivot to a question that seems to come up a lot. The question is, what about all the remaining Jasons? Dead and alive, how can they be explained? And my answer is, why does it need to be explained? Why does it need to be wrapped up with a bow? Look, the Jasons that remain may fight it out to be the Jason of that reality. The ones that have ampules left might just leave and find their own worlds to settle into. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. What we're seeing is the aftermath of opening Pandora's box. It may not be able to be closed again. This is the reality that may just be another casualty of box travel. Another question that pops up a lot is, do the boxes stay after the travelers leave? And if they're sitting there in these other realities, how can that be explained? From what we can tell, the boxes stay behind after the traveler leaves. For example, when Jason 2 would leave Jason 1's reality to go do Jason 2 stuff, abduct different Ryans, the box didn't disappear when he left. So this leads me to believe that once the box has made a quantum bridge to a different reality, the box just stays there. So the next part of the question, what happens when people start finding these boxes? Well, nothing. These boxes are useless without the ampules. Sure, some may discover what they're used for, but for the most part, without prior knowledge or evidence that the multiverse is even real, that's not going to be really a viable option when these people discuss what the box's use is. They most likely will just be seen as an oddity, like the monoliths that sometimes spring up in our actual reality that we're talking in right now. Remember, the boxes aren't made of an alien technology. They're not so far in the future that it would just blow the mind of someone that walked up to it in 2024. Without the corresponding drug and information about what the box is supposed to do, it's just an empty box. Now, this doesn't really apply to realities where the box might have randomly appeared in a highway or in a school or whatever else somebody may have built on that particular spot in that reality. In those cases, it's definitely going to cause a little more of a stir because things just appeared in the middle of nowhere. But for all the other realities where it's on that coastline and there's nothing around it, or it's in the woods or something like that, it's just going to be something that someone may have built there and nobody knows what it's for. But maybe all these things will be covered in a potential season 2. The aftermath of humans learning how to travel the multiverse and the chaos that it could bring, the realities trying to guard or shut down their own boxes to keep their world safe from other realities who are trying to capitalize on the new technology. Who knows? There's a whole bunch of stuff that we could see happen in season 2 if Apple or the author or both decide to go that route. But in the end, this show made the viewer think about the nature of choice, regret, and the impact that their choices may have on others, as well as the nature of free will and what that might look like. Maybe free will is a version of us making every possible choice we could potentially make, all existing, all equally real. And that will wrap up our dark matter deep dives. As usual, we want to hear your thoughts, and if you have questions that we didn't cover in this episode, drop them in the comments. We'll definitely discuss it. And if you like what we're doing and you want more, let us know by liking and subscribing. Until next week, stay sleuthy.